Alright then guys, slightly late with this one, but welcome to podcast number, what's this one, 4? Yeah, podcast number 4, oh my god, I've been doing this too long. So I do apologise for it being late, but I'll be honest, it completely slipped my mind, and I forgot to actually record this, so whoops, sorry. But I have been kind of busy this week. Some of you who are subscribed to my other YouTube channel, the Bev Rants one, you will probably have seen why I'm a little bit busy this week, should I say. And you know, every week I keep saying about sending in questions using Twitter, which is @BevLive, or facebook.com/VivaLaBev. And this week there has actually been quite a few questions which came in, which actually, well, all of them were related to the video that went up on my other channel. So I'll try and explain to you as best possible what I actually did as we're going along. Because the first question that came in was, why was it created? The reason that the EDL video was created was because it just seems that over the past couple of weeks, the EDL have been going out and the protests have been getting more and more violent each time. And I think it's time that people actually started speaking up using basically every form of social media possible to not only condemn their actions, but obviously the way that they go about doing their actions. You know, at the moment they seem to be going around, and it's all to do with this soldier who, you know, about the incident in London, and that's a completely separate question that someone sent in, but that was basically my main reason for doing it. You know, this group said that they were going to go out and they were going to do this whole protesty type thing, and then yeah, so apparently they went out under the name of the soldier, and we got images through a couple of hours later of a bar that was completely trashed. There was obviously police officers had bottles thrown at them, and it's just like, well, what exactly are you doing? You know, I mean, there's no way that you can protest and want to be taken seriously if you're going to be doing that kind of shit. The EDL, I mean, I have a problem with them anyway because they just seem like the biggest kind of bunch of racists going, but that said, you know, they do have a lot of supporters at the moment, but from what I'm able to tell, there's quite a few people now turning their back on the EDL, and an even more smaller number of people who, like me, are turning around and going, no, EDL, you are the ones that need to go, not the Muslims. So the second question that I got in, this was only a couple of days after the video went up, and it said, what did the soldier's family think? And I've got to be honest with you on that front. I mean, when you upload a video to YouTube, you do get some like basic statistics. You get like how many people have watched it, what devices they've watched it on. Sometimes it'll tell you like the male-female split. It's kind of mixed as to what information you actually get on the video, but it doesn't actually tell me if the soldier's family have seen it or if it's been passed to them. The video at the moment is still getting views, so you know, there's always a chance that they're going to see it and could well get in touch, but as of yet, as far as I know, they haven't seen it, but I don't know, because I don't know the family. There was a thing in, where was it? I saw it today. I think it was on Twitter the first thing this morning, and it was basically saying that the soldiers' family have actually spoken out and condemned the action of the EDL, and they've said, you know, if you want to go about doing your thing, then that's fine, but do not use this soldier's name to go and carry out your actions. Which, I mean, they're more than entitled to do that. That, you know, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't want the EDL acting on behalf of me or anyone who I know. But it obviously doesn't seem to be able to do much, because today, as this is actually being recorded, there is a protest planned for in Manchester, as far as I know, at some point this afternoon. There's one in London, I think. Another one in London. Basically, they're popping up all over the place. There is quite a few of them happening today, these EDL rallies. And all that seems to be able to happen at these EDL rallies is that the people turn up and they drink loads to start with, they cause shit, and then go home. When I say go home, in a few cases they go home. Well, of course they all go home, eventually. So the other question is, has the video been approved by any people? I can only presume that means, or refers to the fact that the video has something like, I think it's something like 8 dislikes and 4 likes or something like that. The video itself has actually been passed around by, there's a couple of people, or a couple of Twitter accounts that I've seen that have been passing the video around that are in support of the EDL. And obviously, when it's going around them sort of circles, you are going to get the people who are like, oh no, you're calling for the EDL to be disbanded and you should go to hell. And I think someone put on about drinking bleach, I don't know. But the video has been going around by a couple of people who, like myself, are saying, you know, we need an end to the EDL. So it is kind of being approved, but it's also being disapproved at the same time. But to be honest with you, I'm just glad that it's out there, really, you know. It's something that I've been kind of saying for a long time now. And yeah, that's basically it. The final question with that, which is going to bring me on to my next point, is about dealing with hate online. Because this person said, how are you dealing with all of the comments in regards to that video? So, to be honest with you, when it came to that video, I did read all of the comments, and I genuinely can't take them serious, because these people are in support of the EDL. So by default, I automatically feel like a better person than them. But I mean, you know, it's kind of hard for people to actually be able to insult me for some reason. I seem to have this thick skin. So, me personally, it is hard for people to actually insult me, and, you know, me to be insulted or offended or something like that. I am aware that there is a lot of hatred online, literally on every form these days, you know, especially with social media. When it comes to dealing with hate online, the only way that I can describe it to people is just don't take it personally. You know, online is one thing, real life is another. If someone's insulting you face to face, then you might need to deal with it. But online, who cares? You know, let these people say what they want, because at the end of the day, it's them that's going to get in the shit for doing it. Like I've said in other videos before when I've touched upon this topic, you know, social media just by itself, like Facebook and Twitter, is so heavily monitored in the UK at the moment by the police. It is unbelievable. There was a video which went up earlier on this week in which the uploader of the video described it as a woman had a Union Jack flag taken away from her and she was arrested for it, and you can't fly the flag anymore, and blah 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 blah. This video went up, and obviously there was a lot of people who went, why can't we? And I was one of them. The video clip is about 2 minutes long or something like that. In 2 minutes you are not going to get the full story, but you know, there was a lot of people, and they said, oh, the police are wrong for doing this, and I can't believe it, it's so racist, and blah, 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 and all these immigrants coming over, and, you know, you know what the hate gets like for that kind of stuff. So, obviously, having picked up on this on social media and seen some of the comments of themselves, the Greater Manchester Police actually put a formal statement out earlier on this week in which they basically said, you know what? Yes, the police were called out to this incident. Yes, the police were there. Yes, we took the woman to one side, but there was nobody arrested, and she had a separate second flag taken away from her because it would have provoked the situation or the... I can't remember what your word it was. It was something like the hostility of it or something like that they used. And... yeah, so, you know, that they put a statement out, but that's only because they monitor the social media so much these days, and it's actually really good to see. And obviously it's there for our use as well. You know, if we are getting like hateful comments and having to deal with hate online ourselves and that kind of thing, well then, you know, the police have social media accounts. Feel free to get in touch with them via that. And from personal experience, the police genuinely do take action when it comes to things like social media and hate online and all that kind of stuff. So really, just don't... If you are going to take it personally, don't feel that you have to go through it alone. You know, there are people out there to help you. There are plenty of charities out there to help you, and you can get in touch with them, and they will help you. If you didn't gather that bit from what I've just said. Right, so... now that that's covered, like I said earlier on, please do keep sending me any questions because I really do enjoy getting them and trying to answer them as best I can. Let's have a little bit of a look at what is in the news. It's been in the news recently about, well, it's in the news today saying that a man in America is going to make a brand of marijuana. Isn't that crazy? For those of you who have been living under a rock, you have probably noticed that marijuana is now legal in certain states in America. And by legal, I mean completely legal. Like, not like the UK does, where every now and then they're like, oh, well, it's not as harsh at the moment, so we'll just release the banding a little bit on this one, so you can have some personal on you, but if you have more than £50 worth, then that is intent to sell. And it's a mess. But no, it is genuinely legal in some states in America now. And this literally is still new. It's not like an old thing. To be honest with you, I can't agree with it being legal any more than I already do. For those of you that have missed out on the video that I did ages ago, I do actually believe that all drugs should be legal. You know, if we're supposed to live in this society where people are allowed to make choices and make their own mistakes, then what the fuck are we doing banning it in the first place? When it comes to drugs, you know, I've had so many arguments with people, and they're going, well, you know, if you make it legal, more people are going to die. Well, excuse me, but alcohol's legal. How many people die of that per year? And I'm not just on about, like, alcohol abuse in itself and liver failure and whatnot. I'm on about, like, death because of, you know, someone's had too much to drink and then they've gone and done some dumb shit, you know? How often does that happen? I think another fact that we need to face with this one as well is the fact that people already take the drugs. Whether it is legal or not, people are going to take the drugs. And it's only a matter of time before the government in the UK have to face up to the fact that, you know, they are going to have to start looking at making this stuff legal. I think that the UK government is probably going to do it more now because it's being done in certain parts of America. And although not a lot of British people do like to admit this, I do, but the UK government tend to follow American politics. And I'm not just talking about the war in Afghanistan. You know, America started doing the debates on marriage equality, and it's funny that it was like, what, a year or two later? Oh, they're debating it over here. I know that, you know, people over here have been calling for it and that sort of thing, but Parliament really had been ignoring this issue for so long. And then certain states in America start making it legal, and, oh, well, there's the debate up in Parliament. Actually, speaking of marriage equality, we should go on to that for a second. Marriage equality, I think I said this last time, but if I didn't, it passed its third reading in the House of Commons, which basically means now that the next step is it goes through to the House of Lords. The provisional seating, I believe, is on the 4th of this month, the 4th of June, which is going to be, let me have a little look on the calendar, that is going to be on Tuesday coming up. So that's going to be the first sitting of it. I'm not really too sure exactly what happens when it comes to the House of Lords, I'll be completely honest. I presume it's just going to be a bit like Parliament, in that it's just going to be kind of, the bill will be read out and I don't know, voted on or something? I don't know. I know that there's 3 provisional dates that have been set in. One of them is Tuesday coming up. Then we've got the 17th. I think it's the 17th of June, and then we've also got the 19th of June, which is my birthday, so yay me. But in speaking of marriage equality, I think it's only right that we should mention what's been going on in France. For those of you that have missed the news recently, France has been seeing some pretty graphic violence when it comes to anti-marriage equality protests. What a mouthful. There was one the other day, I think they said there was something like 150,000 people that turned up to this anti-marriage equality protest or something, and all this stuff happened. I think by now you guys probably know exactly what side of the fence I'm on when it comes to this topic. I don't really see why these people would turn so violent against it. I can only presume it's because there's nothing else really to be violent against. You know, marriage equality is one of them things. It is coming through at one point or another. I know that there's something to do with Illinois today in America. I'm not too sure, but it looks like they've voted against marriage equality, because I've got a few friends on Facebook that are posting stuff about it, but I've still not actually read the news for myself. Marriage equality is one of them things. It is on its way. For those of us that haven't already got it, you know, if it doesn't come through now, it will be coming up in the future. You know, marriage equality is on its way back, and I say on its way back because we used to have marriage equality. You know, when marriage was first created, it was equal between all people, and then it's only, you know, certain people got into power in certain governments and they were like, actually, no, we're going to make it between one man and one woman. So, yeah, so technically it's actually not changing the definition of marriage, it's kind of reverting it back to the old way. Anyway, so, France. Yeah, so, over the past couple of months, France has been putting through the different sections of marriage equality, and as well as seeing some of the graphic violence that we've seen happening in France over marriage equality, we've also seen the first lot of marriages happen as well, which has been just really encouraging to see, and it's been really sweet. And I can only wish the couples in France all of the best if they are getting married now, because they can. To those of you who do vote against it, you're kind of stood on the wrong side of history, probably once again. It's a point that I keep making, that only a couple of years ago, you know, these exact same people were voting against people of different colours being able to get married. And this day, if you bring that up, you will more than likely be called racist. But back in that day, it was just classed as fine. So yes, basically that's it from me. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening, and I will speak to you all soon.